What would you say is the problem that you're trying to solve?
So I work to cut 10% of global carbon emissions by making live events like the conferences and trade shows, music concerts sustainable.
Nice. I love that. Can I get some photos of you right over here?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. I get further back. When did you first learn about how much events were emitting?
That was about a year after the pandemic and the lockdowns ended. There was a study that was published in Nature magazine that was done outside of the event industry. But it caused a lot of controversy because they confirmed basically that we are at least 10% of carbon emissions globally. It caused a widespread debate across the industry.
I see. And what were you working on your business at the time then, or?
No, I was working as a global event planner. So I was traveling between Europe and North America and in various conference locations putting together these events. So I had to start asking questions about, am I wanting to be part of the problem or part of the solution?
And what made you take the step to go for it and start your own business?
It's some kind of internal voice that always told me that I'm the right person to solve this problem. I've been close enough to the problem, also seen various software solutions on the market, and I felt that I'm in a very good position. Was born in Finland, in a Western country with relatively good access to resources. Now I'm an immigrant, so it's a little bit different situation, but still I'm in a position that I can make an impact, so I absolutely should.
Yeah, I love that. I love the accountability and stepping up to doing it yourself. That's awesome. Let me get some photos of you right over here.
Yes.
What would you say has been the most challenging part of getting your business up and running?
Where can I start? There's so many challenges in getting business up and running. I think women are especially well made for this journey because it's really about solving multiple problems at once. It's really next to impossible for me to hide or highlight one specific challenge. But first you need to validate the idea, then you need to communicate vision, get the team around it, raise capital. So if you're a successful founder, you can do these all three. And ideally, the first key people are especially important, but you should start this positive cycle where you hire people who are smarter than yourself. So it can really be hurtful for your ego. So you really need to learn to let go any discomfort or confidence challenges. Like you need to just be willing to not be the smartest person in the room anymore.
Was that a hard lesson for you to learn, or was that intuitive for you?
It was intuitive for me, but it's hard every time.
So, yeah.
But the key task of the founder and CEO of the team is to remove obstacles from the rest of the people. And you'll be really hands-on, of course, but your main task is to communicate vision, get the team around it, and remove all obstacles, including any access to capital and other issues.
Yeah, that makes sense. What do you feel are your unique skill sets that made you successful to this point?
I honestly sometimes question it. I've been able to gather a team of 9 people to work for me on equity and get people quit secure government jobs and get key people from the industry join as advisors. Mm-hmm. And honestly, sometimes I even question myself, how did I do this? And it's hard to answer this honestly, but I think probably being a magnet for resources is my superpower. I still don't today. I'm not self-aware enough to describe how I do it. People even ask me how I do it, but I just do it.
What would you say are the important traits in an entrepreneur outside of yourself that you think are key to success?
Yeah, I would say that you need to be very customer oriented and let your ego down, because you need to listen to a lot of signals. You need to be strong in conviction, but not too stubborn. There's time for stubbornness when you have found that conviction, but be always flexible in your mind and leave room for others to succeed. Also, I really like this analogy from a book called Pattern Breakers, where they say that all founders used to think that we are the Luke Skywalkers of the story. The reality is that you're more like the Obi-Wan Kenobi, and everybody else is Luke Skywalker, including your customers, including your first team members, even investors. Let them be the heroes of the story and they'll stick around.
Yeah, that's a really powerful reframe, and it makes you appreciate what they contribute to your mission more.
Yes, and it's hard work from all those people. So the reason why you're combating against the alternative cost of somebody going back to Big Four and raising $500,000 paycheck. So you need to have such a strong and impactful mission and vision, and then you as a person, that it makes them want to be part of the story and become the Luke Skywalkers.
Yeah, I love that. You've got to be a great storyteller, I'm sure.
Yes, that's part of it. But then I would say also some kind of, how would I even say it in a rational way? Because I'm a very calculative person, but I still believe that there's things happen for a reason. So if you seem to be the one who is like carrying the torch towards the right direction, people for some reason decide to start huddling around you. So keep that going, keep that cycle going. Don't let that light dim.
Nice. I love that. Let me get some photos of you right over here. What are some mindset shifts that really made a big impact in your success as a founder?
Oh boy, that's a big question. I think as a founder, you start the journey to make an impact and change something. But what you don't realize is that you go to places where you meet the darkest and the best corners of yourself, sometimes all at the same time. So I would say for me, and I think this might be issue with many female founders, I'm a recovering perfectionist. It's actually, you end up bringing wrong kind of prices. And you need to get comfortable with the fact that not everybody will like you or your idea, and you don't have to be anyone's cup of tea, be the gasoline, lit things up a fire.
That's a great analogy. What strategies do you use to move past that?
Oh, it's unconscious, I would say, part of it, but more consciously, I actually did pick up meditation. I'm somebody who would have never previously meditated, even though I did martial arts a lot before, and I think that's meditative itself. But whether it is quiet morning moment when you visualize future where you are already and realize that you have everything you need to get yourself there, and the only difference between this moment and the future when you want to be is the work that happens in between. So I think there's a lot of moments when there's uncertainty, and just getting comfortable and trusting the process. That's something, because you need that calm. Your team needs to see a calm leader, no matter how things are going. Like, you need to be the anchor for everybody. And that's actually hard mental work every day. So whatever is your medicine, I wouldn't recommend things like alcohol or partying, or I would recommend exactly opposite. So get enough sleep, meditate, whether it's 5 a.m. in the morning or later in the evening, and do some like cardio activity to get the stress out of the system.
Yeah, that's helpful. What advice would you give to your younger self at the start of your entrepreneurial journey?
I would say for longest time for me, the challenge was that I didn't see many role models in the system. So it always seemed like that I was questioning if I have the abilities, if I belong, and all these things. But then looking back at other things that I achieved in life, um, I did a lot of great achievements already. I definitely always had it in me. So there was nothing that would have stopped me from starting earlier. So that's probably the only advice I would have given my younger self, that, okay, you don't need to achieve APC before starting something or become ready. You'll never be ready. Just get started.
Yeah, that's really helpful. Very true. There's never a good time to start. You just got to go for it. Let me get some photos of you right over here. How would you define success at this point in your journey?
That's a big question. It's really, success means so many things for many people, but I see a future where all live events are optimized. You and I, we attend future conferences and concerts. We don't even know this, but there's no waste, just upcycled materials. Everything about the building is optimized, including water and energy usage. And we are cutting carbon emissions at incredible scale across the world in all event venues and live events.
That's a great vision of success, for sure. What do you think is one thing that's not talked about enough in the industry, the event industry?
There's many things that are not talked about enough, like carbon emissions being one of them, but also we use a lot of temporary labor, and then workplace safety and fair treatment of workforce. So we would consider adding social metrics into future product as well. And altogether, live events that have always united people. For example, the World Forum between the East and the West during Cold War era. It wasn't just people coming to shop for new gear and items. It was about people from very far apart coming together for the first time. So yeah, events, they drive movements, including climate movement as well. So I would see events taking a more active role in both in climate and social action and overall driving well-being and economic growth for everyone across the globe.
Yeah, events are a great driving force for movements. I can see that being important, bringing people together on the same mission. I feel like that's what
Yeah,
events are
it's
really good at.
almost, like think about road rage. It's really easy for us to start honking at people when we don't see them face to face. Then suddenly you bring these people in the same room and then they at least can have a conversation. Conversation is always the starter for starting to amend and then finally find a common tone.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Let me get some photos of you right over here. How would you describe what you do and what your business does to someone who doesn't know much about the industry?
Well, the beautiful thing about live events is that we all have probably attended some of them. So you may have gone to rock concert or attended a conference. I look at this as big, small cities. So the city has to come together in really short amount of time. Then you utilize all energy, water, your guests produce waste, your show produces waste, and it all has to come down also in a really short amount of time. So most of the emissions from these events are not visible to the bare eye. How can we change something that we can see or even understand properly? That's what we do with Envire. So we automate the event impact tracking at scale. So whether there's 4 or 14 shows on site at once, we know exactly who consumed what and what's the best way to start cutting emissions for that particular event or that particular venue.
Yeah, this seems like a really important thing to be working on and could make a big impact because people don't realize how much emissions actually come from events.
Yes, and a lot of the decisions today are based on gut feeling. So that's not always the best way to go about it, even given that every event and every venue is unique in certain ways. So I think it's better to go in a very scientific way about cutting emissions.
Yeah. Who do you work with specifically? Like, who do you reach out to or your partners?
We we work directly with the convention centers and sports arenas, and they are our super users, and they serve their customers who are then the artists like Coldplay, big corporate event planners like Microsoft, AWS, even companies like Chevron. And in the end, it's about making the experience great for the guests. But the chain starts from the venue who provides all the infrastructure for the event planner to start cutting emissions. So if the venue doesn't have infrastructure in place to support sustainable choices, such as recycling infrastructure in place, it's really difficult for the event planner to do anything. So the events, essentially, they are the driving force.
So, yeah, there's a lot of transparency at the different levels. And what What would you say is one of the easiest ways to get started being more sustainable, especially with those big events and big partners?
There's so many ways, but simply the if we could upgrade some of the buildings. I know that's a long shot. Usually, it's better to first go with some quick wins, such as sort out the waste diversion, so waste that is diverted from going to landfill. It's you need to show the people that we are making progress. Otherwise, people lose motivation. So do something that shows quick wins, and then go after those bigger infrastructure projects, such as let's put a solar roof up to this building, and then that's gonna reduce emissions at scale and also ultimately impact your bills. But sustainably organized events, even just the waste part, can have a significant cost savings impact because it costs money to send things to landfill.
Yeah, that's a great point. It is beneficial for the organization as well to be sustainable. It's not just some charity thing that they're doing.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I like to tell and repeat over and over again is that we need to start talking about sustainability in a language of a CFO. So that's when we get taken seriously, and that's where sustainability gets put on the pedestal where it becomes belongs, which is the strategic business unit.
Yeah, that's a great point. Let me get some photos of you right over here. Do you think that events can ever be fully sustainable?
I believe so. I this was a question that got asked from me often and still today. But when there's a big emission factor, there's also great potential for making an impact. So if we can make this work at scale, we can cut 10% of carbon emissions globally. It takes a lot of planning in advance, but it leads to better guest experience. It leads to cost savings and better brand image for the venue and event planners. So it's a win-win for everybody, including environment. So I see a future where events are not just cutting emissions, but they are also becoming this global catalyst for introducing climate innovation, like new building materials, new way of managing energy, new way of doing fully circular catering experience. And when we see how you can make this happen for a 40,000 person conference, then you get inspired and start doing it in your industry vertical. So I see events becoming a global highway for transporting climate tech innovation and sustainable practices across multiple industries.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. They, like you mentioned, they're like a little city. So if you can do it with an event, those things can kind of translate into other domains as well.
Exactly, whether it's how we manage our cities or how do we like overall organize operations in manufacturing sector or so on. So everybody can pick up something, but we just need to get exposed to these ideas and see them in action. So then you can start trusting the new technology or building material or whichever it is. But climate tech often has this challenge of overcoming some like how do you call it? We need to earn the trust of the user and then trust of the governments. And if we can see these innovations in action in smaller scale, it's easier to start adopting them at larger scale as well.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Let me get some photos of you right over here. What's something you're proud of yourself for?
Proud of myself for. My goodness, this is a difficult question because I'm one of those people who always achieves a goal and then sets the next goal much further. And then it's odd because I always look that I haven't achieved things fast enough and things cannot move fast enough and I should be here and there already. And then I get asked career advice often and how did I start the venture? Yeah, I would say probably the proudest thing that I have done is starting Envire. It's where I put my soul into something that's beautiful and impactful and takes a lot of courage. And I'm willing to stick with the grind. So I'm really proud of this.
Yeah, that is definitely something to be proud of, but I can see it can be challenging to take credit for what you've already achieved when you have such a vision that's so far ahead and you're not there yet. But it's nice to be able to actually recognize some of those things that you have done up to this point.
Yeah, that's probably should have been my answer to one of the previous questions about the working your mind into it. Yeah, I hear that often, like, oh, aren't you proud how far you have gone? Even customers sometimes ask it. And for me, there's so much more that we can and should be doing.
Yeah, I get that. Let me get some photos of you right over here. What would you say is your deeper why?
I find this question extremely challenging. It's for us who are very analytical by nature. It's a difficult one. I get constantly told by my advisors that you need to go walk in circles at the beach and just figure this out. And there's something deeply hidden that I'm still trying to honestly bring out. Uh, but I had a really cozy career, six-figure income, living in four-star, five-star conference hotels. I could have just kept going. But there was really this moment when I remember I was walking through a show floor during the tear down period, and just looking around myself, and it felt like from the Resident Evil movie, like, that I was walking through apocalypse. My heart was literally hurting. uh, I was seeing the mountains of waste all being piled up in the same bin. This was a 40,000 person event, and they were labeling the event as sustainable. And I just thought that, man, like, I don't know if I can be part of this. This was before I learned that events account for 10% of carbon emissions, but I had awareness of that this is not right. And I just really thought that, wow, like, what am I going to tell the future generation, like the children of my friends, or my niece who is about to be born, and what will I tell to these people? And I was there, and I didn't do anything. That I would not be able to live with myself after that.
Yeah, I can see you almost getting emotional with that. It sounds like it's about living in alignment with your values.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's probably it.
I love that. Let me get some photos of you right over here. The beautiful green background.